Welcome back.
Oh,
morning.
Give me a shock there, sneaking in like
What are you doing here?
reading stuff.
It does feel weird, doesn't it? We've been joined by some familiar faces as we celebrate 30 years of breakfast. Morning, Bo.
Morning.
Well, it says here you've been on the programme longest.
Yes, Carol's been probably working on the programme a bit longer. I joined as a reporter 25 years ago.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and then I went away and then I came back. My first show on the sofa was in 2001 in spring. But you know who's been here longest is Bernie Wingfield, who's in the gallery, who's been on started day one on breakfast. 30 years he's worked on this programme. So we salute you, Bernie.
Congratulations,
That's
Bernie.
remarkable.
Well, none of us were here, apart from Bernie, for that very first day of breakfast time. But Tim Muffet has been looking through the archives and went back to the day that changed TV history.
It's 6:30, Monday, January the 17th, 1983. You're watching
News, sofas and sweaters. British television viewers have never seen anything like it.
There are cynics that some people hold the view that television in the morning is sort of decadent and sinful.
Oh, it is, it is.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
The atmosphere just before we went on air was so tense. And I'd certainly never done. Very few people had done 2.5, 3 hours of television, largely unscripted, or anything could happen, mixing news and current affairs, quite heavy stuff, with really quite light and fluffy stuff.
As Nick Ross was telling you, letters and telegrams have been pouring into our offices here, wishing us luck with breakfast time.
Not just letters and telegrams, but video messages from breakfast shows the world over.
Hello, heartiest congratulations to BBC Breakfast Time from Hong Kong TVB's Good Morning Hong Kong show.
We wish you the very best and hope to see you go from strength to strength.
Oh my goodness!
Nobody was expecting much from us, which I think gave us the freedom to break the rules.
Breakfast Time was a hit. There was aerobics with the Green Goddess,
It's the bust and the chest all this week.
astrology with Russell Grant,
So Harry is born under the sign of Virgo.
plus pioneering viewer interaction.
Hello, David.
Morning.
Ah, you're there. Has it started raining yet with you?
No, not yet.
Oh, that's a bit of a blow.
But during the 80s, the tone changed. New desks, new presenters,
Good morning, it's 7 o'clock on
and a new, newsier edge.
But don't you have any respect for the fact he's clearly managing the economy?
And in 1989, a new name.
You're watching the first edition of the BBC Breakfast News.
The BBC had one of its periodic phases when it decided that it wanted a new image. It became Breakfast News with me and Jill Dando and Sally Magnuson and Kirsty Walk. And of course it was a time of great international change. The Berlin Wall had come down.
Hello and welcome to Breakfast from BBC News with Sophie Rayworth and Jeremy Bowen.
In 2000, Breakfast News became Breakfast.
Here we go. Good luck.
And in January 2001, a familiar breakfast face made her debut.
Jordan and Sean Williams.
Breakfast is like no other programme, because 1 minute I'd be interviewing a Prime Minister and holding them to account.
To see
Let's
we
talk
have a
about
unique
how
problem.
we pay it back
Well, we can
and the
manage that,
spending
would you?
cuts, because you said you were going to have spending cuts. And
Not
so
on
far.
frontline service.
And then the next day, you'd be talking to Harrison Ford. It'd be your co-presenter suddenly.
We'll take a look at the news, travel and weather, where you are.
In April last year, Breakfast moved to its new home.
We're glad you've joined us for our first morning from our new studio here in Salford.
And a concept once dismissed as decadent and sinful continues to thrive. Happy birthday, Breakfast Telly.
Back tomorrow at 6. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
How's this going to work first? Who's going to speak first?
It's got your name on it.
Me? Okay.
Follow the script for once, Charlie.
All right. Some famous
You don't miss
faces
it, do
have
you?
sat on the various sofas over the years.
Yes, the faces and the hairstyles have changed a bit, but there's a lot about the feel of the show which we think is probably similar.
Yes, we don't do horoscopes or a daily fitness session anymore, although perhaps we should.
Well, except on special occasions like today, because Breakfast Graham Satchell is in a place we featured on our very first show.
Morning.
Morning, everyone. This is rather confusing. Far too many presenters. We are in a pub which was featured in the very first episode of Breakfast Time 30 years ago. Now, in those days, you could get a pint and you could have a cigarette. Not anymore. I'm having a coffee here this morning, and people are having breakfast. That wouldn't have happened 30 years ago. This is also a vegetarian pub opposite the meat market here in the centre of London. Who would have thought that 30 years on? We decided to turn the clock back to 1982 to have a look at some of the stories Breakfast Time was covering when it first started and see how the world has changed in the last 30 years.
Leg warmers, Margaret Thatcher, and David Bowie at number 1. It was a year of firsts. The first pound coin, the first wheel clampers, and the first breakfast TV.
It's the first edition of the first regular breakfast television programme in Europe.
Weather is toppling. Breakfast Time held a mirror to the world, which in 1983 included Cabbage Patch Dolls.
This is one of them. There she is. In America, people are going bananas.
It was a near riot. One woman broke her leg. One store official armed himself with a baseball bat.
Breakdancing.
It's just a matter of connecting it together.
Don't stop, that's lovely.
And new technology like the CD.
Well, let's give it the Breakfast Time test. Some honey, bit of coffee, give it a quick wipe down. Could be it. Let's see how it sounds.
Britain in 1983 was just coming out of recession.
The worst unemployment figures yet, close to 3.25 million.
The Austin Metro was the best-selling British car. And on Breakfast Time's first programme, a photo of Charles and Di skiing and a debate about press intrusion.
Now you've got their skiing picture, next time they go skiing, will you even bother again, even?
Princess Diana is probably the most newsworthy woman in the world.
So what did they think in 1983 the world would look like today?
That schoolboy dream, the wristwatch TV.
Some things haven't quite caught on.
The picture quality isn't that good.
It's a miniature inertial navigation system.
Others really have, although a bit better than this.
Feed that into the television screen.
In many ways, everything has changed since 1983.
You can expect the usual Monday morning tailback.
But you could say nothing has changed.
Traffic is building up northbound.
Today's headlines are still about press intrusion, unemployment, David Bowie. Finally, what did people think of Breakfast Time when it first started 30 years ago?
We've been filming some of you watching us.
Can I ask you, what do you think of the idea of breakfast television?
Marvellous. You can have a drink and watch the television and go back to bed when it's finished.
Well, it's brought the customers in this morning. We'll let you know when it's been on a couple of days and see if they're still interested in it then.
Well, it's taken more than a couple of days to come back to the same pub. It's taken us 30 years, but here we are, and it's been totally transformed. And I'm delighted to say one of the original lineup from that very first programme, Breakfast Time, is with us this morning, Russell Grant. Morning to you, Russell. Lovely to see you again. Now, take us back 30 years to that first programme. What was it like?
It was cold. It was Lime Grove, just outside of where the current broadcasting house is now, still in Shepherd's Bush. And I was there, walked in. We had a most wonderful boss called Ron Neal, who believed in the project and believed in all of us, because there were a lot of things going on behind the scenes where maybe there shouldn't be astrology on breakfast television. I was wearing something very similar to now, except it's more of a waistcoat, but as I walked in, this jumper appeared with stripes on, and they said, "Put that on, your light entertainment." and my first guest was Sir Harry Seacombe, and it was just the most amazing feeling, but our nerves were really, really bad. By this time, I would have been past my second slot. Originally, I had a 7:30 and an 8:30 slot, but because of the controversy that there maybe should have been a God slot at 7:30, I was then just 8:30. Now, that caused its own problems, because people were catching buses to go to work, children were going to school, and they were missing buses to watch their stars. So that's the kind of impact it had in the end.
It was actually almost surprisingly popular, wasn't it? And do you think that the secret of its success in its early days was that it was, how can I put this, a family kind of show and aimed not at, I suppose, what you could say the normal, what the BBC might be expected to do. Can I put it that way?
That's right. I mean, I think many people thought we were going to be the Times of the air, but in fact the template was the Daily Mirror, and we were asked to be the Daily Mirror, which of course has got your astrology in there, and I didn't have exercises, but that was another thing that wasn't expected. Our wonderful Diana, who came on and did the Green Goddess slot. So there was all kinds of populist things that people would want to share. And, you know, we must remember there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there were no emails, and there were only 4 channels. And you had very, very little choice in those days. Is that a good thing? Who knows? Some people may say it was best to perhaps go back. And I had a slot which was called the Starlet of the Day, which was for birthdays. And people would literally write in sometimes 1,000 letters a day to become a Starlet of the Day.
Amazing. Now, we last saw you, I suppose, on TV. It's Strictly Come Dancing, and you bust your knee. Are you all better? Is everything all right with you?
I had an arthroscopy. I went into the Wizard of Oz at the London Palladium for Andrew Lloyd Webber. I had an arthroscopy doing that tango and foxtrot with Flavia. But, you know, how wonderful is that? Flavia and I are still together, and we're about to go into London's West End in Midnight Tango, so I'm currently learning something I didn't do on Strictly, which is an Argentine tango.
I'm sure you'll be marvellous.
Well, I hope so, darling. You wanted to say marvellous, darling, then, didn't you? But, of course, your breakfast news now is somewhere between what we started and what it went to, which was dead serious, and now you're down the middle.
Yes, a nice mix.
Warm, but not too serious.
Yes. Now,
and I'm still getting in my ear, you see.
Lovely. Oh, look, here we are.
Go to the stars.
Oh, you're an old pro. You're
going to do the stars.
I'm going to introduce you to the stars. Is that all right? So, now, it's a special treat. You're going to roll the clock back. If it's your birthday today, Russell, can you do, for people watching at home, what they can expect? Can you do their stars of the day?
Yes, well, we would make you all starlets of the day 30 years ago, because that's what it would be. Venus is beautifully positioned today. There's just been a conjunction to Pluto. So there's a kind of intensity there, but there's a lot of passion around. And that connection to Saturn, which is coming up later, is also very good for practical relationships. You know what? If a relationship starts this year, it's likely to last for a very long time to come. And if a partnership based on money is formed over the coming year, then I can assure you it'll be both productive and produce great abundance.
Oh, bring him back. Bring him back.
No more.
Russell, we are loving your jazz hands. Loving the jazz hands.
Well, that's my steady hands, but you did get them, of course, on the original breakfast, Charlie.
Absolutely fabulous. Thanks very much.
Thanks for coming back to see us.
Oh, come on, we should have him back every day after.
Time, though. Breakfast Time was the first daily TV show to have as well its own resident fitness expert.
Diana Moran, or the Green Goddess, as she was, of course, known, had the entire country up off their sofas and working out.
So we thought we'd get her in to see if she's still got what it takes.
And Mike is...
I'm gonna do this, guys. I don't know if there's someone talked in ages. So, it's gonna move.
Definitely have. What a moment this is for Breakfast TV, because 30 years on, after it all started on a cold day, Diana, on Waterloo Bridge, here you are again. The green leotard is back, the Green Goddess is back. It looks fantastic.
You're very kind. It's a modern version of the green leotard and tights, yeah.
We've got a group of volunteers from a local Zumba class. They're going to be following your lead in a moment. But obviously, the secret must be doing this sort of workout every day. That's why you look so fantastic.
To be honest, I've been doing this for 35 years, and it's a modern exercise. It isn't hard and fast. It is, strict aerobic. Along the way.
Sorry about that, guys.
It's not too bad.
And have you any idea the impact you were having at the time? I've got a bit of a confession. I was a student at the University of Winchester. We had a student TV channel called Pulse. Every week, I was your equivalent. I was the black god wearing a black leotard and a funny old mask. It was pretty hideous compared to you, but you were an icon to us all.
Oh, that's lovely for you to say so. Yes, I mean, I did make an impact, and I would walk down a street and there were people sort of doing exercises in front of me, and even now in London I can go up an escalator and somebody will call across, "Hello, Green Goddess." So it's really quite nice.
Well, escalators then. What was the weirdest place you ever did the workout that we've seen?
Well, we were in Aberdeen, up at the Bridge of Don, training the soldiers for the Falklands, for example. We were on naval ships at sea, the QE2, I think it was, in steelworks, all sorts of places.
And your legacy remains, because every Saturday on BBC Breakfast we do a different sporting feature, all designed at getting people off the sofa, following your lead, your original lead.
It's really important to do that, actually. I try and lose the word exercise these days and say activity. Get up off the sofa, do an activity, and if possible, do it with somebody else, because that motivates you to keep doing it.
Absolutely. Now, I've got an excuse. I've got to get back to the studio. I've got 2 minutes to get there, so I'm going to leave everybody, once again, in your capable hands, and we're going to hear those famous words again. Good luck.
So, get up, wake up, and stretch up. Let's get Britain fit. So come on, girls, let's get at it. Let's feel that music, feel the rhythm, feel the rhythm. Stamp it out. Use the arms. That'll help our cardiovascular system. And then I just want you to come towards me for 1, 2, 3, 4. Spot. 2, 3, 4. And forward. 2, 3, 4. And spot. 2, 3, 4. And again. Forward. 2, 3, 4. Spot. 2, 3, 4. And back you go. Feet a little bit wider apart. And let's swing the arms. Good. Use the arms, using the whole of the body. Good. And then we're going to start by going over to the side and swing. 1, 2, 3, and over. 1, 2, 3, over. 1, 2, 3, over.
There is only one place to be when the Green Goddess is doing her fitness routine, and that's sat right here.
Well, Linda gets in touch to say, I started my nurse training in January 1982
Ugh.
and remember doing the Green Goddess workouts at the end of a night shift on a children's ward.
Oh, she's absolutely fabulous. And thank you all for all your messages this morning. The one thing that's really clear is the thing that makes this programme is all of you. You're incredibly loyal, and thank you for watching us.
Sorry, I
Brilliant.
wouldn't be the same without you. So thank you for making us Britain's most
Yay!
TV programme, and to celebrate, instead of exercising, we've got a bit of cake. Oh, yes.
Happy birthday to everyone.
Don't know what happened then. So sorry. Yeah, cake.
Can we get a close-up on our likenesses on the top? It looked like something from Trumpton. These whoever they are.
It is something like you, Charlie.
Yeah, that's the best news of the day. It is a chocolate cake.
That's Charlie and Louise. And me and Suzanne.
Can we buy your heads off then later?
I was trying Miller and Friends. Here we go. Here. Piece of cake, just a small one.
Thank you very much, Linda, and we made the cake. And thank you very much to all of you for watching. And happy birthday to the programme. Happy birthday, everybody. It is a privilege to present and work on.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Tomorrow at 6,
Yeah.
as ever.
We'll all see you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.